Hello, this is Robin Kirby-Gatto. This is Cooking Keto with Kirby-Gatto. Join us today as we get ready for an awesome meal. Oh my goodness, you're going to be super excited you joined in today. Welcome into the Kirby-Gatto kitchen and be ready to have a mouth-watering meal. For those of you who have never experienced a ketogenic diet, I've been on it over 3 years. It is absolutely a wonderful lifestyle. I did not hear about it from any person. Actually, God told me the name of the diet to get on it. It's changed my life and totally gotten rid of all the dis-ease that was in my body. So I am super excited to bring this broadcast to you today so that you can have an awesome meal, and you are going to be super excited to make this meal. Let me see who all's joining in. I see Lori, God bless you. Thank you for joining in. I see Eva, so good to see you. Hey, Susan McDonald, thank you for joining in. Hey, Cheryl. And I also see Jenna and Sharon, God bless you. Thank you for joining in. And Dina, God bless you, and Joe. So today, what are we serving? We're actually serving pork loin. We'll get into that. And I've got this crossbred squash that I'm going to make stuffed squash out of. And then I'm going to make my super yummy buttercream sauce. Oh my goodness. If you only join in to get this buttercream sauce, it is all worth it. Just to show up today, just to get this buttercream sauce recipe, you'll never be the same. And I'll be able to tell you variations that you can do with different dishes, because it is going to be one of your main sauces. I know for me, I love bechamel sauce. And this is very much like a cross blend of bechamel sauce, and it will be super yummy for y'all. I see some of y'all joining in. Hey, Susan, so good to see you. Thank you for joining in. I also see Mikhail, praying for you. Hey, Kimberly Darnell. Hey, Karen, God bless you. Thank you for joining in. And so we're going to look at, right now, I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven, and we're going to get this pork loin in. And normally I would have been cooking it actually 2 hours ago. I would have already started cooking this 2 hours ago, but I wanted to get it in when you all were joining me on a live broadcast so we can see a complete meal. So here is my pork loin. I'm going to add my favorites, which are garlic salt. This is garlic salt, and so I'm going to put it on the pork loin and get it ready to put into the oven. And what is interesting too, and I'm going to grab this, what is interesting too is I absolutely, totally love lemon pepper. And I haven't used it as much over the past year, but it is one of my best flavorings. It is so awesome. So I'm going to add some more garlic salt, garlic powder actually. And then next, I'm going to put in some pepper. I like buying my pepper in beads so that I can grind it and putting it in this pepper grinder. And so we're going to put in pepper, and then I'm going to add some lemon pepper, because again, I'm in a lemon pepper mood. And so I'm going to add my lemon pepper, and that's how easy this pork loin is. And it's going into the oven. Is that not super yummy? Yes, it is super yummy. Thank y'all. Thank you, Eva. And so I love lemon pepper, and I'm going to sprinkle it on there liberally, because while it's in the oven, it's going to be getting the juices. And also, never, 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 never forget the salt on meat. Salt is awesome on meat because it helps with that acidity in the salt. It helps to loosen that meat and to break down the proteins in it, to let the flavorings come out in a greater way. And so salt actually brings out the flavoring in a much higher way in that meat. And this is going to be super yummy. This pork loin, I always buy it on sale. I get it at Fresh Market when it's half price. When their pork loins are half price, I will get 4 of them, and I will put them in the freezer, because this pork loin will last Rich and I at least 3 meals. I will take a picture of it after this broadcast, and I will put it up as the frame for this particular YouTube video on my cooking channel, Cooking Keto with Kirby-Gatto. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven, and we'll we'll just let it do its thing. Generally, again, I will cook this pork loin about 4 hours. I generally start it out on 200, and I cook it on 200 for about a little over 2 hours. Well, I'll say I cook the pork loin for, let's say, 3 hours. Let's just be safe. So I cook it for 2.5 hours on 200, and then I start bumping it up. Many times I actually put the pot on the stove, and I do a sizzling and get the outside kind of charred, and then I put it in the oven to cook. However, I find out that when I still do it this way, it still has that charred taste and it's still yummy. And Rich doesn't know the difference, just don't tell him, right? And so we've got that in the oven. Next, we're going to get, and this little handmade towel rag, I love it, it's a dish towel, is actually from Shirley Noel in Canada. Shirley, I love your dish towels, they're so awesome. And so the next thing we're going to start working on is going to be super yummy, and it is going to be a stuffed cabbage. Not a stuffed cabbage, a stuffed squash. This is a crossbred squash, and I just absolutely thought they were the coolest things that I had ever seen as far as squash. And so I wanted to get these squash, and I was like, okay, because I was tired of cauliflower, I was tired of asparagus, I was tired of a lot of the vegetables that we eat normally. So I wanted just to bring some different things, and since it's getting into fall season, I thought these were really cool, and these would jazz the dish plate up really incredibly. And they are super yummy with my buttercream sauce. And so I thought, what can I do with these? Well, what else? Stuff them. And so we're going to start working on this process, and I'm going to take the tops of them off in order to put stuffing in there. The stuffing is going to be comprised with cream cheese. We're going to make what I like to call keto cornbread. I love cornbread. I'm in the South. I absolutely have to have me some cornbread. And so we have a version that is kind of a keto cornbread, and I will be bringing that in. It's only 90 seconds in a cup in the microwave, and once you get it done, all you have to do is cut it up, dice it up, and you'll be able to have an awesome stuffing to add with your squash that you're going to put inside of the squash, and it's going to be stuffed squash, and it's going to be overflowing, right? Because we're overflowing people. And you're going to get a dish that you can put it in where you can put all kinds of chips, of squash chips all around there. Are you ready? Let me go grab my dish. And this is my Rachel Ray dish that I've got because we needed another dish. I needed another dish very, very bad. Our other dish that is being thrown away, oh my goodness, it's so pitiful. It's this thing that I got for $10 probably about 10 years ago, and it is no good anymore. So I had to get me another dish that I could do my sauteing in. Those of you who do not know me, my big thing is collecting pots, cookware, vintage cookware. And so I have vintage cookware that I also use, Dansk, which I got on eBay from the 1960s. And then, of course, love my entire, you can't see it really good, but I'll show you. This is my Italian cookware, and I absolutely love it, and it's from the 1960s. I'll be making lemon buttercream sauce in this Italian cookware. It's Cital, and it is awesome cookware. It is my favorite cookware, but we're going to be making the buttercream sauce in this, and then I'm going to be doing the squash. That stuffing mix I'm going to do in this, and I'm going to show you that once you do the stuffing mix, oh my goodness, easy peasy. You're going to put it in a pan, a small little pan, to be able to put the squash that you're stuffing in there. Just lay it on top and put the squash chippings all around, and it is super yummy. And so, after you've been cooking the pork, about right now, I've got it at 390. Let me take it down to 375. I just wanted to bump the heat up just so I can get the oven hot. But today, I'm doing it for 375, and I'm going to do it for 375. Actually, let me take it down just a little bit more. Let me take it down to 325 because I know when Rich is coming home and when we're eating. So I'm going to take it down to 325, and I'm going to cook this a couple of hours, and 30 minutes right before I get ready to take the meat out, I'm going to bump the oven up to probably 375, 380, and then at the same time, I'm going to put my squash, little stuffed squash, in the oven with it. And so you get it at the same time. Is that not awesome? Let me go grab my dish. Now this is the dish that we will be putting the stuffed squash in, and I actually have a smaller one, but we have leftovers last night. If you have not seen my keto eggplant parm, look at the pictures on yesterday, and I actually used my smaller pot like this. This is actually Dutch Holland 1930s. Got it on eBay for 20 bucks for both pots. Solid iron, cast iron. They are awesome. It has a cute little lid. And so I'm going to not put the lid on it when I put it in the oven, and instead I'm going to leave the lid off because I don't want moisture inside of this casserole dish, and I want the moisture to cook out of that squash because that squash has so much water in it, and I don't want that soggy taste of the squash. I just want just the right perfect taste, the way you cut it with your fork and it just slices it like butter, but it's still holding its texture together. And then with that buttercream sauce and the cream cheese that has a stuffing mix in it, you cannot go wrong. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. I love this extra virgin olive oil, particularly because it has a little spout that pushes down when you put the lid on it. Is that not cool? So it makes it less messy as far as getting it in there. It just makes it less messy. And I'm also going to put some olive oil in here. Now with olive oil, you can't cook at a higher temperature. You have to cook olive oil at a lower temperature. So I'm going to put it, my favorite temperature gauge for everything on my stovetop generally, except for meat, my favorite temperature gauge is 4. Even when I boil pasta, out of my favorite cute little pots that are from Italy from the 1960s, even in these, and I have even bigger pots than these in this particular series, I always put it on 4 because first and foremost, I don't want to damage the enamel. Look how perfect the bottom of these pots are, because I always am mindful about the enamel cookware. Even though it's great, I still don't want to damage my pots. And so I keep it at 4. And so generally for vegetables, I will have it and I will keep it at 4. And I just find that temperature works for me. It's kind of like a slow simmer that once it starts simmering, it's the perfect simmer, and it's the best simmer to cook in my opinion. So let us look at getting ready for this particular dish, right? We're doing a squash dish. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make, a lot of people call it keto bread in a cup. I call it cornbread because I'm a cornbread woman. I grew up on cornbread. I feel like when I came out of the womb, my mom gave me some cornbread and some meat. I love me some cornbread. And so we're going to make a variation of what I would consider a keto cornbread, and we're going to do it it's bread in a mug. That's all it is. And all you need is 1 egg. Easy peasy, right? Everybody can do this. Even your children. You can teach your children how to do this, right? Washing my hands. Do not want salmonella. Just FYI, I actually, when I was a little girl, was hospitalized, and the doctors did not know why. I was about 7 years old. I was in 1st grade, and I was hospitalized for salmonella. I started having double vision. I couldn't walk. I fell down. I started blacking out. They took me to the hospital. My mom did. My mom carried me into the hospital, and they did not know what was wrong with me, and they had my little body on ice to bring my temperature down. But I was diagnosed with salmonella. And so ever since having that, I am very particular about my eggs and chicken. When I eat chicken, generally I will try to get chicken from actually a farmer, just because even though for me, I have a reaction, I'm so sensitive to antibiotics and hormones. And after doing my health and wellness coaching certification classes, I see why it's important to not get antibiotic chicken that are fed with antibiotics, is because it actually messes up your microbiome in your gut, and it takes out the good microbiome, the good bacteria that's good to live on. So that's just FYI. Now here is an egg that I've mixed up. I'm also going to get just a hint, probably about a third of a tablespoon, not much, just a third, a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, but a teaspoon, a third of a teaspoon. And I put this in the mug. And of course, I love me some garlic. So guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get some more garlic, and I'm going to pour it in over this egg that's mixed up with this baking powder. And I'm just sprinkling it to taste. And then I'm going to get my almond flour. Now Walmart sells these gigantic almond flours. You can't buy them small anymore. And so I'm going to get a third of a cup. And I'm going to get a third of a cup. And I'm going to put that in this cup, and we're going to blend it and go ahead and get that cooking. Is that not yummy? I see you, Linda. So good to have you joining in today. And so I'm going to get this, a third of a cup, and I'm pouring it in this coffee mug, and we're going to mix it well, right? You really want that mixed well. Just to show you, it's kind of liquidy like that. And then I'm going to put it in the microwave for 90 seconds, and we have fresh keto cornbread, in my opinion, or stuffing, okay? We'll just say stuffing. FYI, I like to keep my almond flour in the refrigerator. It just works for us. Also, I'm going to use lemon pepper, and I'm going to use garlic when we get ready to coat our squash in olive oil. The one that's not going to be cooked, but the ones that are going to be stuffed, we're going to coat them in olive oil, and we're going to sprinkle this all over them, and they're going to be super yummy. That lemon taste, this lemon pepper taste, it's going to come through, and it's going to be just perfect. So we got the lemon pepper on the pork loin. We've got the lemon pepper on the squash. And so that note of lemon pepper is going through the meal. And we're going to top it off with my favorite sauce, lemon butter sauce. You can do it in different variations. And it's going to bring that lemon, and it's just going to kick up even more. It's absolutely awesome. So just save your garlic and your lemon pepper for that. I already smell that keto cornbread, and it smells yummy. But in the meantime, you're also going to need, for today, I like pudding, and I find it's really good if I put this little garlic, chop it up, and put it in my buttercream sauce. It makes the buttercream sauce super yummy. I got these from Terry Jackson. Thank you, Terry Jackson, for my garlic. And then we're going to also need, for that, the stuffing, you're going to need cream cheese. And then you're going to need, for the buttercream sauce, you're going to need butter, and you're going to need heavy whipping cream. Now, as I get ready to make this buttercream sauce, I'm going to be liberal. It's going to be a lot of fat. But understand that this is the ketogenic diet, and this is how Rich and I choose to live our lifestyle. And so most of our calories are in fat, and this is going to be the best topping for your pork. Are y'all super excited? Yay! I'm so excited, Linda. I can't really see everything that y'all are saying now, but I will in a minute while these are cooking. So let's move you over here, and this is our pan. It's been heating up, right? It's got a little extra virgin olive oil in there. And these are the two squash that we're actually going to stuff right here. So I'm going to get this, and I'm just going to go around the top. You'll see it in a minute, to be able to make a little place where I can stuff it, right? And we're not going to throw these away. We're actually going to use it, but it just kind of, make like a hole in the squash, because when we put it in a pan, I want to be able to stuff it. The stuffing is what's going to make it super yummy. And so I'm taking out all of this top, and then I'm going to be utilizing it. We don't waste, right? We use everything. even when I was juicing before I started keto diet, and I would juice my vegetables, I would save my vegetable skins that would come out of my juicer and be like in the garbage, throwaway stuff, and I would use those for a meal. I just believe in not wasting. And so that's our first squash. I've already got the top off. And now I'm doing the second squash, and we're going to get the top off of this. And make sure, if you're having a child help you out, that you are monitoring the child if they are using knives. There are also kid knives on Amazon that are kid friendly that look like they're much safer. So if you want your child working with you in the kitchen and y'all having fun, consider monitoring them. But also, if they really like cooking, why not look at getting those knives that are really cool and really safe, right? And so this is enough for me, for my liking today, to stuff these squash. Now I know this is a little bit jagged, but that's fine. And just FYI, we'll do this in a minute after we start doing the rest of the leftover squash. And I'm going to do a little extra because one of them needs to be eaten today, and we're already cutting off of that, and we're going to continue, right? So let's look at putting stuff in this pan. So I've got this leftover squash. I'm going to utilize it, and I'm just going to chop it up, dice it up, and I'm going to start putting it in the pan. I'm going to also get this leftover squash that I've already used and just carved out inside of this particular 2 squashes that we are using in stuffing today. And I'm just going to get that, and I'm just going to start, and this light just goes off from time to time. It has its own brain. And I'm just going to start getting some of this. And this looks so beautiful. Oh my goodness, it is such a beautiful dish. I was super excited to have it the other day. And so we're just going to throw that into our, right there, pot, into our skillet. And then we're going to continue because we want a little extra salt. We want a little extra from this. Why? Because I could see a part of it was already getting old, so I cut the old part out. And I was like, I'm not going to waste the squash, so we're going to get extra chips on our squash stuffing today. And so I'm going to stir that around, and I'll season it in a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and chip away some of this other squash. And then I'll save these other 3 for another meal tomorrow. So we'll do the same meal tomorrow. I don't know how y'all feel, but being on the ketogenic diet, one of the things that's great about it is it's super easy, and it's easy to do the same meals 2 days in a row. And so I like doing this meal 2 days in a row. It just makes my life easier, right? And so we're going to cut the rest of the squash. And I hope, oh my goodness, if you try this at home, please comment in the video and let me know how you like it, right? And so let me do this a little bit more. I'm going to move you over just a little bit more to where you can see me. Hello! Let me bring you up just a little bit. And so we're putting the squash in this pan, and we're cutting it all up, and then I'm going to start seasoning it after that for me. That's how I like to do it. I'm not a professional cook. I'm just an experimenter, a very incredible, passionate person with keto. I love keto, and I love experimenting. And so I'm just doing all these in different chunks. These are going to cook down not only in the pan, but these are also going to cook down in the oven. Because remember, the final cook, the real truly cook that you're going to give this is going to be in the oven when you do it right before you take the pork loin out. So here is the rest of this squash. And I've already got my extra virgin olive oil in there. And I'm going to twist it around, spin it around. And remember, tonight is lemon pepper night. So guess what I'm going to put in? I'm going to put in some more lemon pepper. So you do this to taste. You can use something else. You don't have to use lemon pepper. I just happen to like lemon pepper. And so here's lemon pepper. And of course, I super love and always got to have my garlic. And so we'll do some more garlic. I love, 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 love garlic. Also, too, I'm going to get Matthew to get some of our fresh herbs out. Let me see if I can call him. He's actually in the house. but I'm going to see if I can get him to get me some fresh herbs, like they say in England, some fresh herbs out of the herb area on the porch here at our apartment. Hold on one second. Are y'all super excited? This is going to be so awesome. And I've got my cornbread here in a cup. This is it in a cup. Oh yeah, I forgot. Matthew's somewhere else. Never mind. Wait. Can you get me 2 basil and a whole thing of oregano? There's Matthew. He's getting me some basil and oregano because I want to add that to my lemon butter sauce. So here is the mug, the bread in a mug. And I like to say it's my cornbread because that's just what it seems like to me as cornbread. And I'm going to put it on a plate. So this is how you generally do it. It dumps out. Now you're not going to use the whole thing. Why? Because you're going to save half of it for tomorrow. So you're going to use only half of this for today. And it's awesome because it dries up almost like breadcrumbs. I also use this as breadcrumbs when I leave it out for a day and it gets hard, like croutons. It makes yummy breadcrumbs if you want to broil them, just a hint, in the oven. But today we're only going to use half of this. So I'm going to cut this in half. See? And we're going to put this other half away. Sometimes I'll leave it out by our bacon pans. When I say bacon pans, it's these little things that we eat off of when we eat our bacon. And it looks like these silver pans right here. And so this is what we eat our bacon on. And so I usually put it on something like that. And I just leave it out and let it get room temperature, stay for a day. And then all of a sudden it gets the great temperature. Thanks. Matthew just brought the herbs. Here they are. We've got basil and we've got oregano. Do you want to say hey to everybody? Sure. Here's my Matthew.
My hair's not good.
Hello, everybody. He's our keto taster. And so he is also our herb getter. And so we have basil and we have oregano. And this is going to be for our buttercream sauce. So you're going to save that, right? And so for the rest of the leftover bread that we have, we're now going to work on a stuffing. While this is all cooking in this pot, and you stir it around, it's going to get at a perfect temperature, and you want to lightly cook it and coat it in oil, and then you're going to add this into it, and it's going to add a greater depth. And so in a minute I'm going to get some of these squash chips out, and I'm going to put them actually in the pot. And then I'm going to put this in there, and I'm going to cook this a little bit and lightly coat this cornbread. So let's look at getting these squashes ready in order to put them in so I can work on getting some of this squash out. So I've got oil in my pan, you see that? And I'm taking this squash and I'm rolling it around in this oil. This is where you're going to get really messy, and it's just part of the fun, right? And so I've got that squash that's covered in oil. And then I've got the second squash. This will be Rich's squash. And I'm covering that in oil as well. Oh my goodness, it's a good thing that I got this big pan because these squash are so big. And so I'm covering them in oil. And then what happens next? The fun happens next. What is it? The fun is when you get your lemon pepper and you start sprinkling it on this squash. I've got it right here. Let me turn y'all this way because I don't want it to fall on the floor. And so I've got my squash, and I'm just coating it with lemon pepper, and I'm putting it on there because you're going to get it all around the ends, and it's going to stick to it really good. And then I'm doing it with my other squash. I'm coating it, and I want it all to get on there really good. And so now I'm going to also put some in the middle. Thank y'all for saying hey to Matthew. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read what everybody's saying. So I've got my 2 squash in here. It's really tight, but we're going to make it work. And I want to be able to take some of the other squash out in order to do my bread, which is going to go in my stuffing, and be able to give us some good stuff for our stuffing, right? And so I'm going to go ahead, lightly coated. There it is. lightly coated. I'm going to go ahead and put some of it all around the squash. These chips, I'm going to put it all around the squash, and I'll show you how it's turning out, just so you'll see. And I'm going to just leave just a baby hint. You see, it's just a little bit right there, just hardly, almost nothing, but just enough, because I'm going to use that to play with to also stuff my squash. And so, let me show you how this looks like. Here it is, and I'm removing this. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to stuff these two circles right here. But all around those circles, I have what? Squash chips that I've already sauteed, because this is actually going to still decrease and cook more in the oven, and it's going to get a little smaller. And so those squash chips, oh my goodness, you're going to be so super happy you got those squash chips, because this is going to be so superb. So the next thing that we do is we take our knife, and let me bring you over this way. We got a small kitchen. When we get into a new apartment or a new house, I'm going to have an awesome kitchen to do cooking keto with Kirby-Gatto. And so we're going to get this, and we're going to chip it up. And this is where we're going to make little chips of this cornbread bread. And we're going to put it in here, and we're going to get it coated in some more oil. And so you'll just turn it around. It's still on 4 for that heat. And I'm just lightly coating it with oil. That's all I'm doing. It's just giving that flavoring, so that flavoring of that lemon pepper, that extra virgin olive oil, the garlic, it can kind of soak into. And look, by the time you get through, you should see that almost all of your oil, that's a good thing, is you don't waste oil. Waste not, want not, right? And so you're not wasting the oil, because look at that. This bread is literally getting all the oil out of there. Is that not super cool? And so, guess what? Your oil's getting absorbed, so you have more oil. We're going to actually start doing this mixing for the stuffing. I'm going to do it in this particular bowl. FYI, this is awesome. I got this off Amazon a long time ago. You can put these bowls in an oven up to 400 degrees. When I make twice baked casserole in regards to cauliflower, like twice baked potato, these are the go-to bowls, and I put them in the oven, and I can go up to 400 with these particular bowls. These bowls also can be put in a freezer, and it will not hurt it. Love these bowls. And so what I'm going to do is I've got probably about 3 ounces, about 3.5 ounces of cream cheese, and I'm going to put that in this, and we're going to get ready to mix the breading and just the little bit of squash that's left over, and we're going to mix it around and get a good texture, right? It's all about texture and flavoring, right? Texture and flavoring. And so let me get this out of the way. I'm getting dishes out of the way so I can keep making a mess before I have to clean it up before Rich gets home. Let me just get some of this out of the way. So now I've got this, and we're going to empty this leftover breading and squash. We're going to empty that inside of this particular dish, because this is going to be the dish for what? Our stuffing, right? This is going to be the dish for our stuffing. Let me get this pot out of the way. So now we're going to get a fork. Why a fork? Because that way it allows the cream cheese to pop through that fork. When you're doing a stuffing and you're using cream cheese, a fork, in my opinion, is always better, because it allows that cream cheese to kind of come through here and to create a different blended texture. So that's what we're going to do, right? I've got this, and I'm going to do it like this just because it's easier. And I'm going to just keep doing it with my fork. And the good thing is since the squash is hot, and since also the breading is hot that we've made in a cup, in a mug, it just makes this cream cheese easier to work with. And you know what I'm going to do, because it just sounds like super yummy to add this to it? I'm going to add a little Parmesan, because it would be perfect with this stuffing. I find out, for me, stuffings, like stuffed mushrooms, I love stuffed mushrooms. They're a great appetizer. For those of y'all who are watching football, stuffed mushrooms are a great appetizer. Keto stuffed mushrooms are super, super great. They're super easy to make. And so I'm doing this mix of the stuffing right here. We're almost through. It's getting that fast. Is that not super easy? How easy is that? What I've showed you for your vegetables, super easy. And you know what? Your spouse, your significant other, is going to super love you and think that you have gone to cooking school. Is that not awesome? And so I'm going to get a little extra parm. For me, I get all my Parmesans for me right now from Publix, because Publix always has super great sales on Parmesan. When I go to Publix, I will sometimes get for sure 2, if not 3 to 4 things of Parmesan. Is that not super awesome? So I'm getting Parmesan, and I'm going to actually sprinkle it on top of this stuffing. And we're going to just add just a hint of Parmesan to that stuffing. It's already got garlic. It's already got lemon pepper. So these are super yummy, right? Let me just get that, and we're going to mix it right here. Let me see also. I see some of y'all are saying some stuff. Oh, I see. Oh, I've got food on my camera now. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all for joining in. So awesome to have y'all. And so I've also got food on my glasses. So here is the stuffing. And we're going to get these squash. And I'm going to put this stuffing inside of the squash. And it is going to be super awesome. And I'll show you how the finished product looks like. So I'm just putting this on the top of the squash where I've made room to be able to stuff these squash, all right? And this is going to be super awesome, and especially with this buttercream sauce, it is going to be so super awesome. You're going to be so glad. So I've got the pork loin in the oven. That's cooking. I've got the stuffing for these squash on top of it, and it's so awesome. This is how it looks like before you put it in the oven. Does that not look super awesome? Wow, that was thunder. Did y'all hear that? Does that not look super awesome? Look at that. And that is before it's cooked. Now, when it gets through getting cooked, I'm going to put the picture up. It is absolutely amazing. You're going to be so super glad you made this dish. It's worth it. So look at the different squash that you can get in the store right now. And when you find a squash that you can stuff, you can do that. Or do any other type of vegetable that you want to do. Now we're going to work on the lemon pepper buttercream sauce today. And so I've got my pot right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it up to 4. And then I'm going to go ahead for Rich and I, just because we're going to make a heavy duty sauce, I'm going to go ahead and put about 4 to 5 tablespoons. I know it's a lot, and some of y'all are probably screaming, 4 to 5 tablespoons! Yes, 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter. Because this is going to be really the main place where our fat comes in. I know that cream cheese has fat in it. I know that olive oil that just coats it has a little bit of fat. But this is going to be the main place because that pork is so lean. It's a pork loin, and it's so lean and there's no fat. I'm even going to get some of the juices from that pork loin, and I'm going to mix it in this buttercream sauce. You can do this for pasta. I love doing it for pasta when we do our carb up days, or even if you want to do it for zoodles, where you do it for zucchini noodles. This buttercream sauce is the perfect sauce for that kind of stuff as well. And you can get some shrimp, you can get all kinds of, you can get whatever you want to get. I love seafood with this buttercream sauce if I'm going to do it on zoodles or on a carb up day if I'm going to do pasta. I love it. And so we've got the butter and it's starting to melt, right? While we're doing that, let me just sit this over there. That will go in right before, this will go in right before I'm about to take the pork loin out of the oven 30 minutes before. And I'm going to let this cook for 30 minutes on 375. Now I'm going to do the buttercream sauce. Butter is cool, butter is melting. And I'm going to get my garlic that I got from Terry Jackson. And I'm going to take the skin off of that, and I'm going to start dicing it. And this is what we're going to put in. And you want to put it in to your buttercream sauce if you're going to do it. If you're going to do it, you want to put it in as your butter starts melting. You don't want to put it in afterwards, right? And so I'm just going to chop it up. I know it's going to be in little chunks, but you know what? I like chunks too. And so we're going to do little chunks of garlic, and I'm going to put it into this pan right here with this butter cooking, and then that garlic will get a little sizzle, and then it will start fusing. I've always wanted to say that. There will be fusion of the garlic into the butter. And so we've got all of that going on. And this is my buttercream sauce spoon. You really, really, really want to have one particular spoon that is committed, has a commitment to buttercream sauce. Why do I like a wooden spoon? Because the way that you're going to test how well the sauce is or when it's ready is you're going to take the spoon out and you're going to be able to swipe your finger. See, this even has burn marks on it because I use it so much. You're going to want to swipe your finger up the spoon in order to test if the sauce is ready, because if it does not cling to the spoon and you see your swipe mark totally there, then that means that the sauce is not ready, and you keep stirring. Now, some people think that this sauce is a hassle. I don't. This sauce is super easy. If you want something to make super quick, if you're doing stuffed mushrooms, this is a go-to. If you're doing seafood, tuna, if you're doing shrimp, if you're doing salmon, oh my goodness, this with salmon is off the chain. Again, if you're doing shrimp, and I talk about on our carb up days that I'll carb up. On those carb up days, I'll do pasta. And so I will do this sauce and I will do shrimp. And it is absolutely delectable. And I'll save me some of the water that I've boiled the shrimp in just to get that flavoring that's come out of the shells. That's where you're going to get your most potent flavoring from. And I'll pour a little bit of that into this buttercream sauce to give it just a little bit more flavoring. And so there's so many variations. This is the basic buttercream sauce. And after I give you this basic buttercream sauce, you can doctor it up however you want to doctor it up, and it's going to be awesome. And I see you, Donna. I'm going to be answering questions after this. And so you get the butter, it's melting right, and you can kind of hear a little sizzle in it. And so with this, I'm going to turn the camera in just a minute because I'm going to be busy stirring. This is the thing that you do buttercream sauce. And so the next thing you do is you get your heavy whipping cream. I just do it as I observe it, but this is probably going to be about 2 ounces, 3 ounces of heavy whipping cream sauce is what I'm going to add. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit more. Get it this way. However many tablespoons of butter you add is how many ounces of this you add. That's the perfect determination. Easy, right? And so I'm going to move you over here just a little bit so I can talk to you, because we're going to start stirring the sauce. You want to keep it on 4 because you want to go to a low simmer because this sauce is very sensitive. You don't want to burn the butter. FYI, if you're afraid that you're going to burn the butter, what do you mean? If you forgot that you put your butter in there and you happen to walk off for a second while your butter is melting, just get a hint of extra virgin olive oil, pour it in there, and guess what? Your butter will not burn. Isn't that an interesting fact? So right now with this buttercream sauce, I've got the garlic cloves in there. Now remember, it's a lemon pepper night. So I'm going to add not as much lemon pepper because we already have lemon pepper on the loin, lemon pepper on the stuffed squash. So I'm going to add just a hint of lemon pepper that's going to keep this theme going of lemon pepper night, right? So I'm just putting a little hint, and it's already starting to get to a low simmer. And you're going to constantly stir and stir and stir and stir and stir, because the great thing with this is that your stirring has to be consistent and has to be constant. So once you start doing this, I would gauge it. Just counts how much sauce you're doing. If you're doing like a large amount, like sometimes when I do it for the entire family and I'm doing it for a zoodle night, a pasta night, like we're carving up, I will probably have to be over it for about 10 minutes. But generally, probably for about this amount of sauce, as it gets to that simmer, that low simmer, it will probably be about 5 to 6 minutes. And you're just going to be constantly stirring because you want this to thicken up. That's what I love about heavy whipping cream. Oh my goodness, it thickens up, right? And so you're getting butter and you're getting heavy whipping cream and you're stirring it together, and that's going to start giving you your thickness. In fact, I might even stand right here. and it's going to start giving you your thickness. I'm going to do it with this hand. It's going to start giving you your thickness. And while we're doing this, while we're waiting, let's talk about thoughts and emotions, right? For those of y'all who have been watching my broadcast about thoughts and emotions, for those of y'all who have been watching it, I hope that God's been speaking to you to know that right now you might feel like, oh, I'm out of control. I feel like I'm this buttercream sauce being mixed up in my emotions. If you feel like that, you're in a good place. You're in a good place, right? And so as you are in those thoughts and emotions, let God bring them up to the surface and expose those lying concepts, those lying thoughts that you've been emotionally addicted to, and get set free. We're doing a fast right now for those of you who want to join us. I've actually done it for 2 days already this week, but sometimes I do it 3 to 4 days a week. It just counts on whatever God leads me to do. But I'm also going to look at some of what you guys are saying. Hey, Donna. Hey, there's 2 Donnas, Donna Bourne and Donna King. Thank y'all for joining in. I see you, Anna. Thank you for joining in. And yes, God is moving, and thank all of y'all for joining in. I see Teresa too. Where's Teresa Harbin? I love you. So good to see you. And so here is buttercream sauce. Let me sit on this side because usually I like doing it with my right hand. It's just easier to do it with my right hand. That's the hand that I write with. And so we're stirring this up, and I like stirring it up faster as it starts simmering more because it just starts thickening up more. That's what you want. You want that perfect thickness. This is the go-to sauce for the ketogenic diet, in my opinion. Other people might not think so, but hello, it makes everything on a plate happy. Everything on a plate gets happy. When this buttercream sauce hits a plate, you can almost hear the hallelujah chorus from Megan Rich. It just is so yummy. Thank you, God, for butter. Thank you, God, for butter, and thank you, God, for heavy cream. So we're going to be doing this. And it's getting closer, and I still have it on 4. And again, right after I'm through with the sauce, I'll be over. That'll be it. I'm just showing you the prep work that I'm doing to dinner. Pork loins in the oven, and then I'm going to put this in 30 minutes before the pork loins finished at 375. And then I'm just doing the buttercream sauce, and dinner is going to be done. I like doing this beforehand. Since I've got you guys on camera now, I can do it beforehand, so figured I'd go ahead and do it beforehand. This is a good sauce that if you want to go ahead and with prep work, get out of the way. You can go ahead and do this as prep work, turn it off. Guess what? It thickens up. It's even better in my opinion. It thickens up, and then when you get ready about 5 minutes before the meal, you turn it on low and you get it hot again. So look at it thickening up. It's starting to thicken up, and you can kind of see with the spoon, it's not totally there, but see what you want is to go up. It looks ready, but you know what? I like it just a little thicker. And so we're going to thicken this up more and start. See how fast that is? That's how fast that is. Is that not super fast? And so we're thickening it up, and you can just gauge how much thickness. You can gauge how much thickness you want in the sauce, and it's just whatever you particularly like. Now for me, this works. This works for me. Let me show you. So with this sauce, you get the spoon out, and you take your finger, and you do it up like that, and it stays just like that. That means the sauce is ready. If you want it a little thicker, yum! Oh my goodness! This is yummy! I'm already eating the squash with my eyes, and I'm tasting the buttercream sauce on top of it. Yummy! And so I will get a picture of this tonight, and I will put it on this particular video. I'm cooking keto with Kirby-Gatto, and I just hope you have fun with it. Experiment. It's fun. Doing keto is fun. So you have an awesome day.